Hi everybody! Today I am going to show a simple video of how to make a memorial pendant. You can also do this with beads, and I am using soft glass for this video, but you can also do these in boro. Now the ashes of your loved ones or pets does like to bubble up in the glass, so you just need to be a little careful with it, and so an FYI on that, and we are going to get started. And so what you need to do is put your ashes in, just a tiny bit of ashes, in a fireproof container and remove all the larger chunks. You don't want anything large in there. You just want the powder, and you want to spread out that powder because less is more in these beads or pendants. You only need a little bit of ashes. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a simple twisted pendant with blue, black, and the clear is for the ashes. And so I have this sped up, I have this video sped up, and I'm just going to get a mass of glass on the end of my rod and make a little cone shape just to get started. And so I'm just heating this mass of glass. It's kind of flopping around a bit, but I want to get enough gathered together for the size of the pendant you want to make. You can also do this in beads, like I said. So it's whatever you prefer. And now I'm just going to put 3 big stripes of this blue twisted stringer. It's the same stringer I used in my space beads. It's a thicker stringer. It's like 3 to 4 millimeter stringer. So I only need about 3 big stripes on there, and it'll give me quite a bit of blue in my pendant. And it's very dark blue, light blue, and black. But it's whatever colors you prefer, or if you're making this for somebody else, it's whatever colors they prefer, and of course whatever design they prefer. You don't have to make this kind of pendant design. Like I said, you can make these in beads. And also I have this as just a dollop of clear on the surface of the glass, but you can actually melt it in. And let's say if you were making a bead and you wanted, flowers or leaves or some kind of design on the bead, you can actually put the little dots of ashes in the base of the bead. And so the elements on the top, which would be your flowers or leaves or what have you, or any kind of design, would partially cover the remains underneath, the ashes underneath, so they would kind of be poking out. So it's however you want to design your pendant or bead. And this is just one example. There are many ways to do this, of course. And so now that I've twisted up my black and blue gather of glass, I'm just going to flatten it back into that cone shape so I can make a teardrop shaped pendant. And you can see the glass is getting really floppy on that rod. And now I'm going to focus on the bottom section because the bottom section is a little bit crooked. And so it's a little fatter on one side than the other. And so I heat that and I let it drip down a little bit. See, I'm holding it upwards to let it drip down. And then when I roll it, I kind of stop at certain sections just for a second or two to let that glass droop down to even out that teardrop shape. So gravity is a really good friend when you're working with glass. And so now I'm going to heat the whole mass up and I'm going to flatten it for a nice pendant so it'll sit nice and flat against your chest when you're wearing it. And I'm getting the chill marks out now. Whenever you smash glass with a cold tool, it will leave chill marks and you want to remove those. And I'm holding it up and down so that thinner paddle won't actually flop around on me. It'll stay straight, and that's why I was holding it vertically up and down. Little more chill marks on there trying to get out. And there is my nice pendant background. And you can see the stripings in there a little bit. They're coming in. And now I'm going to apply the ashes. And so I'm just going to heat up this clear rod. And I believe there's a little bit of scuzz on the very tip of it. So I'm going to actually remove that because you don't want that in your final bead. You're going to have the remains. So you don't want any additional scuzz in there. And so I don't want a whole lot of ashes, so I'm going to actually taper down the point of my clear rod because I really don't want to pick up that many. And you'll see the difference, that little tiny dot of cremains I have. And I heat behind the cremains to get that glass soft behind it and then smash it onto my pendant to totally cover the ashes with clear all the way around the edges. You don't want any ashes exposed. That can cause cracking issues. It could crack right off if any of them are sticking out. So you want to have it totally encased on the top and around all the sides of the ashes. You want it encased with clear. So I just left this as a dot of clear, but I could actually put a clear layer all over the face of this pendant and made a big thick clear encasement all along the front of this pendant. Or I could have melted that clear flush into the pendant. So it's however you really want to do it. But there's the ashes all melded in now. And now I have it sped up again because I'm just going to heat this up and I'm going to do my bail like I usually do in most of my videos. And so it's basically whatever pendant design you want. I could have made a heart pendant and just had a little dot or a series of dots that had the cremains underneath each of them on a heart pendant. Or I could have had it incorporated into the pendant and then put something on the surface. Like if I had, if these were animal ashes, I could put like a little paw print on the surface. So it's however you want to do it, or however your family member or customer wants you to do it. And I'm just poking my bail, getting the hole with my Peter's tweezers there. Make sure you keep the rest of the bead warm, so every once in a while you want to make sure you heat the bead, the clear glass, and the backside of the bead. You don't want it to get too cold on you and shatter at this point. Because this is usually when it does want to crack on you, is at the end, isn't it right? So once you have your hole established, then you want to make sure your bail is straight with the rest of the pendant. You want to give a good look at it and make sure it's all straight. Give one more nice overall heating to it before I put it in the kiln. And there is the finished pendant. I just have to get it off this stringer. And it doesn't want to break off, so I have to burn it off. This happens a lot with soft glass. And of course I drop it, which I do with a lot of my glass. So I just pick it up, grab it again with a little bit better of a handhold, get the rest of the excess glass off, and melt that little nub in. So there's no indication it was ever there. And that is the finished pendant. And it goes in the kiln.